Sorry about that, folks. I have a dog in the room, so I'm trying to do the story and look after the dog at the same time. Multitasking, eh? Anyway, let's get the story showing on the rolly. 3, 2, 1, go! It's near Christmas time on the island of Trudeau. All the engines were very busy. Thomas and Toby were busy bringing people and passengers up and down the branch line. Everyone was happy. Only the coaches, Annie and Crowbar, were complaining. We feel so full. We feel so full. Oh, come on, said Thomas. Where's your festive spirit? Christmas Day is almost here. On the side of the line, there's a lone little cottage with a familiar figure waving to them. It's Mrs. Conley, whistled Thomas. Peep, peep! Happy Christmas! Thomas always felt better for seeing her. Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without Mrs. Kindly. When work was over, Thomas went to see the other engines. All their coats had been polished. Huh, said Gordon. Just look at us. Your driver will have to work fast to get you as smart as us. Never mind that, said Thomas. I have something important to say. Do you realise it's been the whole year since Mrs. Carney saved us from a nasty accident? You remember when she was in bed and... Yes, of course, interrupted Edward. You told us about Mrs. Carney waved a wet dressing gown out of wind to warn you about a slide ahead. The Fat Control sent us to Bournemouth to get better. But, said Henry and James together, the rest of us have never factored properly. Exactly, said Thomas. So now I think it's time we throw a very Christmas party. Though the engines were very excited, and the driver was sure the Fat Controller would agree, as indeed he did. The engines were all busy making plans and silence fell. The Fat Controller arrived with bad news. Mrs. Conley is snowed up. Toby says he'll help to rescue her. There's no help. There's no party unless you do. Thomas hated snow, but he said bravely, we must rescue her. We must. Ah, that's a good engine. You and Toby will manage splendidly. Thomas charged the snow fiercely. Sometimes it swept them aside. Sometimes they stuck fast, and the men had to loosen them. But at the footing near the cottage, they could go no further. Look at that! Exclaimed Thomas's driver. Peep, peep! Peep, peep, whistled Thomas. An answering wave came from an upstairs window. Then you heard a familiar sound. It's Terence. He's come to help too. Sure enough, Terence had a sniper. I was working hard to clear a path between the railway and safety. At last, the rescue operation was complete. Percy arrived to take the tired workmen home. Terence said goodbye to Mrs. Canley and promised to look after the cottage as they watched them all set off. The engines made good time. By the time they got back to the yard, it was dark. Thomas's heart sank. Then suddenly, all the lights came on. What a marvellous surprise awaited Mrs. Kindly. Well done, Thomas. Well done, Toby. I'm very proud of you all. Mrs. Kindly especially thanked the smaller engines. Many friends on site. Now, Percy, you are my friend too. Everyone's very happy. 3 cheers for Mrs. Kindly, they called. Peep, 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 peep. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thomas thanked his friends, thought it was the best Christmas ever. No Elizabeth, how other be than here with them on the island of Sodor. And that is that. Season 1 finished. Done. Finito. Bye bye, folks.